Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call right here on Pittsburgh CW. Bob Pompeani along with Gene Collier tonight at 412-575-2600. You can also tweet us at KDPomp, at Gene Collier. We begin tonight with the Penguins. And Gene, the babies are growing up right before our eyes. The baby Penguins have turned into the adult Penguins, and now they're playing well. And tonight, Casey DeSmith plays again, gets a win, looked fundamentally sound. And then you had 2 goals by Dominic Simon, who was down in the American Hockey League earlier, along with Jean-Sebastien D. All 3 combined to make big impacts tonight as the Penguins get a big win, 3-1.
Yeah, I feel good for all those players, really. The goalie and, of course, JSD. I mean, these guys, you know, some of whom worked their way out of the East Coast Hockey League, and, you know, God bless them. That's good.
It really is. And DeSmith, do we have what could be called a backup goalie controversy going on? Because when you think about it, I was surprised coming back from the road trip, even though DeSmith played well in the 2 games he got, that they wouldn't go back to Jari, who's been really good for most of the season, except the last 4 games. He had one time he was yanked against Boston, another time gave up 4 goals in the second period, although a lot of those were not necessarily his fault. But you know, Mike Sullivan says, I'm going to ride the hot hand. So the question now, Gene, is does he start again on Wednesday or Thursday night when Minnesota comes to town, or is Matt Murray ready? Does he go back in there? What do you think the plan will be?
Yeah, I mean, Mike Sullivan kind of addressed this in his post-game comments, Bob, and he mentioned that DeSmith is the type of goalie who can get hot and stay hot for a period, and, you know, he may you know, defer to the advice he's getting mostly from his goaltending coach that that might be the way to go for, you know, the next game or 2. Well, 2 would be on the other side of the All-Star break, but I wouldn't be surprised to see DeSmith start on Thursday.
Yeah, if you're going to use that logic, he's played well now, and he was really good tonight, I thought, especially early in the game and late in the first period on Jeff Skinner, some really quality chances. So the Penguins get a win, and they needed that, so temporarily they jump ahead of the Islanders and the Rangers and ahead of the Flyers, although the Flyers are playing tonight against Detroit. I haven't seen an update on that score. Meantime, the Pirate prospects, once considered one of the best systems in all of baseball, according to Baseball America now, only 2 of the top 100, and their top-ranked prospect is pitcher Keller, who is, I think, number 12, and then Meadows, who was once in the top 10 at number 6, drops to 44. Other than that, there's no one else in there. Chicago Cubs have 0 people in there, which means they've traded pretty much everything away to, you know, Carlos Quintana or Jose Quintana and everybody else that they've acquired. So does that mean anything to you, or are you one of those people who say, well, prospects are prospects?
Really, I thought there were 4 in the top, and I thought there were 2 in the top 50 and 2 in the second 50. But regardless, I mean, that's one of those questions where, you know, how many of the top 100 should any franchise have at any one time? I guess it's 3.3. I mean, I don't know. That prospects mystify me. I don't understand all the attention paid to them. I just don't.
I don't either, but that's what we do.
That's what we do
on these kinds of lists.
Absolutely.
412-575-2600. That's the number to call. You can call right now. Let us know what you think about these subjects and more. We'll continue the conversation about football if you would like. Call us. You can also tweet us at KDPomp, at Gene Collier. It's all coming up next as we continue right here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, Pittsburgh's CW.